Hey everybody, this is Alessandro. Welcome back to my channel. Today I wanna take a look and study with you the anatomy of a kick, right? So I was doing this exercise with one of my students, and I realized, how difficult it can be performing like a kick when it comes to martial arts, fighting, and things like that. Even though you might have a good video reference, like I'm showing to you guys, it might not be that simple, right? It might not be that simple to study to understand what's going on. And I know some animator, they just try and go ahead and copy the reference without really understanding what's going on in the body. And obviously this will cause some difficulties, right? Your animation won't look nice. So today I want to go together with you and just go step by step, poses by poses, just studying the reference and tell you what are the things that you should look at to understand exactly what's going on in the body, and what are the things that you should be careful about it, right? So first things first, quick advice I want to give it to you. When you have a reference like this where, as you can see, that the character is moving, but the cameraman, the camera person who was recording this, is also moving at the same time with the character, right, to kind of keep it on frame. So the problem is this, that if you try to study this reference, and it might look like that the character on screen is going slightly on the left side because the camera is moving forward with him, right? So when you're starting for the first time, especially if you're at the beginning, it's kind of useful to kind of lock the camera. So what I did, I went to a separate view here, and somehow counter animated the geometry to keep the background locked, right? So as you can see now, the, the camera is not moving anymore. It's only the image plane is moving because I went frame by frame to fixing it. And now you can really understand very well the spacing and the arc of this sequence. All right, guys? So I hope this kind of makes sense, this little trick. So as usual, let's start with the main blocking, right? The things that we wanna study as usual. And we're gonna start with the main poses. Okay, this is the continuation of a jump, right? And we can go here, right? You can see it's sometimes it's important when we study reference, especially when the reference is very blurry, low resolution, kind of to draw over and readjust um, the silhouette, right? No, we are in this position because he's landing from another jump, basically, right? And so now the other things I wanna study with you guys is when you're going from this position to the next one, I'm looking for obviously a contact position, but also like a pose where the hip can be as low as possible, right? Which I think realistically could be this pose over here, right? So I want to go, as you can see, compared to the previous frame, I really want to go lower, even pushing maybe a little bit more, right? And the other things that is important for me is that, actually here I made a mistake, is to keep the trajectory of the head, which in this case is around here, right? And the hip, which is this area over here, right? We want to kind of see what's going on, So it's not just about the arc of the pelvis here, the up and down. You also want to make sure what's going on to the head, right? Boom. And maybe here we can have these are push in this direction, right? And as you can see here, they're kind of overlapping the leg, right? All right, and here we want to go to the extreme poses now, when the foot, the leg is gonna stretch completely, it's about to leave the ground, right? And again, you see now the hip is in this direction, right? We can push the leg even higher, right? Making more dynamic, definitely. Boom. You see, even look at the arc of the head at this point. Look how it's going from here to this position. Boom. while the pelvis is doing this. See, two completely different arc. This is because obviously different body parts don't move at the same time, right? And again, this is the point where I would say this is the moment where the hip is getting highest as possible, right? And again, okay, I guess you can see I'm exaggerating it. And look how the torso is dragging behind, right? See the hip is already facing this direction here, but the torso is still kind of dragging behind, right? So there is a twist overall here that's happening, right? And here it's very interesting because you see like the hip, how frontal it is at this stage. See now the hip is kinda, it's almost frontal here, but look again how the chest is being dragged behind. See, this is because it's the hip leading the action, right? See, boom, look how the hip is pushing this direction, boom. And then again, here we have this huge stretch. Right? See, can I slightly also adjust the reference because I don't want him uh, to to just copy, right? So that's not the purpose. It's even here. Boom. See? Can you feel the difference? Like boom, the pop here that you have in the hip. And look at here. This is another great pose, I would say. This one here. Right? Maybe actually here we could even stretch and pushing it a bit more forward. No, it's good sometimes just uh, to test, what's going on. Boom, boom, really push it. And here, and again, see how the 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 hip now is completely twisted. You see, we can see actually the butt here coming this direction, right? And but look how the chest itself is frontal to camera, right? Right, boom, boom, dragging this behind, boom, boom. Right, boom. You see, like, you see how it's kinda, the kick is moving forward really fast, where the chest is kind of dragging behind. It's basically moving on the other side. You see the kick here. It's let me go back here. The kick, the hip is moving this direction, and look how the arm, the upper chest is continue to stay in this direction, right? And only here when actually we see everything it's back, is in the leg, everything is towards this direction. The chest is still slightly a little bit more central. Okay, it's gonna catch up later on. And those are definitely the mechanics that are really important that I feel like sometimes people struggle to understand. You see now, for example, here, now that the leg is getting to the ground, right? Now the chest is catching up, and it's completely flipped. And you see, boom. See how the leg is moving forward and the chest remains static, and boom, now here suddenly catches up because it needs to gain the energy for the uh, for the next kick, right? And again, in these particular things, I wanna go down even more, right, compared to the reference. And I think, but it's gonna be a really nice kind of to stretch this leg, right? Boom. So we see the elbow coming up here, right? Boom, boom. And again, same. So now we're going higher. And we can push this one here, right? Okay. Boom, boom. Again, the hip is moving forward, right? And look how it's this twist, it's the counter animation, counter pose in between the chest that is still slightly, pushing on the opposite side because you want to counterbalance. Boom. Can you feel it? And now that, again, now that the hip is completely open here, right? Now the chest is catching up, right? And also because you see, like the pelvis is frontal to camera, the chest is still pointing this direction, right? Boom. Look how the arm is catching up, right? And then obviously same here. We have this moment where now the character, it needs to move all this weight down because of the next action, right? And that's why now the hip is frontal, the chest catch up here, right? The head is in this direction, boom. And look what's going on. Line of action here. See how now the character is getting unbalanced? So if you look at this frame, it's okay in this particular frame to be unbalanced because you see how his weight is going forward, right? It looks like he's falling. But obviously this is done on purpose because, his next action is going to be roll on the ground, right? And then we can go here. We can go here and study the contact pose. You see, this is the first frame where he actually puts the hand on the ground, right? The head could be here, boom, boom. And here I want to put this other, right? This one is here, kind of straight line of action. Other contact with the other hands, right? And I know here, for example, is spread kind of vertically, but like open like this, but it's just something I don't find it very appealing, right? So I'd rather do like this, right? I rather modify, uh, and then we can go here. Okay, so now started to be more stretch. And you see how slowly it's going to the right, obviously. Boom, boom. Maybe see this one. It's gonna look like it's repeating the same leg. So what I'm gonna do is like adjusting a little bit this pose, right? Okay, feels better. Same things here. Again, always study the line of action as well, right? Make it nice, make it appealing. See how it's transferring all the weight towards to this direction, right? And again, I still see even when animator students try to copy, just the reference, they think like, oh, it's easy, just go ahead and copy. I can tell you guys, they struggle even to get this line of action, right? To make a nice curve on the spine and stuff like that. They really struggle on this. And boom, right? And then again, if I go back from at the very beginning here, let me adjust a few more. Okay, when I have another pose here. All right. See here, it's always nice to, even though the knee it's bending, right? It's always you can tweak a little bit and make it look like it's kind of frontal, right? And again, look at the trajectory of the head now. Boom, it's going this direction. Boom. See, here it's slightly going up. Right, it's gonna go in here. Right, we can do this in between very quickly. See, we are tracking the arc. And again, you see here how the hip is moving early, right? Boom. See how this leg is kind of going inside, while the chest is still kind of, the hip is already going, turning this side, the chest is start slightly going behind, but the neck, the head is already looking in this direction. See? Because the head obviously is lighter than the whole chest, and that's why it's let me move this key away here. Right? That's why it's already looking this here. And again, look at the arc of the head. You see? It's very clean. Boom. It's very clean. Then we go into the lowest point here. Okay, always keep. I think it's always very important when you do this kind of things that you always consider what is the lowest and the highest point, right? For example, here for this kick, I would say this is the highest point, okay, and it's also nice golden pose here. You can have, right, really nice stretch, and then here you started to come down little by little, right? See, this is the lowest point again, and you see here it started to go up actually. Around this area is more or less the highest point of the roll, and then you come down. Okay, guys? So, as usual, I hope you find this study interesting. Okay, this is mostly just to teach you why it's not that easy. Just go and try to copy the main key in a reference without really understanding how the twist is working in the body, the difference between the twist in the hip and the chest, and the head as well, how they are completely offset to each other, how they snap very quickly. Like here, there is fast movement over here, and then slowing down here to catch up, ready for the second action, right? So all those things are very important. If you don't really understand what's going on, you just try to copy something that you don't understand, and it's the result is not gonna be nice, I can tell you. And that's why even a lot of junior and student they get frustrated because it's like, oh, I'm following the reference here, but it still doesn't look good. What am I doing wrong and stuff like that? Okay, guys, and that's why at the beginning I always suggest you to study from live action, because it's not just copying what you're saying, it's understanding the mechanics, because eventually at some point you have to learn to do by yourself without using the reference, right? Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed this and see you next time. Ciao, guys.